Tape is rolling. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Murphy, and this is CG One-on-One. Today, I am joined by the one and only Mandy Summers. How are you, Mandy?
Like what? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We were talking before we went live. It's middle of July, so time you step outside to do anything, you're immediately tired and kind of done with the day.
Right. Oh my gosh, it is so hot. But I think I would trade you because you're in the north, right? You're northern. It's cool there.
Yeah, no. So okay,
No.
we're in Portland, and here's one of the things that like people always joke about with Portland, like the rain, right? And like it's always cold and gloomy.
Mm-hmm.
No. So okay, it's rainy from fall till like February. And then we go through a real quick spring, and then from like June to like September, it's just hot. Like the past like 8 summers have been like 90 to 100, 105 sometimes hot, just constantly.
Holy, I didn't know it got that hot up there. Like I knew it got that hot down here, but I thought y'all had it fairly like Twilight lied to me. Like I thought because you're close to like Forks. Did y'all ever go to Forks? I swear to God, if I lived that close to Forks, I would go and get a picture in front of the Twilight sign. Did you do that?
We've seen it, but not on purpose. So like that. So that whole area is kind of like in this gorge-ish area where like there's a lot of like hills and valleys, and like it's really scenic. And we took some of my mom's friends on a like boat tour once, and they stopped there. They stopped there so that you can go like up on the peak and look down on it. But yes, I've seen the Twilight thing, but not on purpose.
Yay. I would love that. I swear, if I lived where you do, I would go to Oregon to go see the Roll-Off Farms and go get a pumpkin from them. And then I would definitely go to Forks, and I would go to like the Quileute stuff. I would be like all over that area because I'm like a Twilight nerd. So I get made fun of it a lot in Comic Skate though, but I like Twilight.
No, hey, I'm not going to throw shade. Selena enjoys the Riff Tracks versions of all the Twilight movies.
Does she? Yay.
Yeah,
they're good. They're so like I've read the books like 4 or 5 times each one. I love Twilight, but like I said, I get made fun of for it, but which isn't right. But
right, no, it's okay. It's all right. Hey, I ain't gonna hate. So yeah, like I mean, look, Portland is well, I should say Oregon's really beautiful, and it's part of what made us want to move here. But yeah, like we're definitely at that point of like, all right, it's maybe time to get out of here with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I imagine it's slightly dangerous a little bit there right now because it seems to be kind of the shit seems to be going on in your neck of the woods more so than like mine. Because like mine, you go in town and you wouldn't know there was anything going on in the world. Minus you see some people wearing masks. Like you go in a store of 40 people and you may see 10 with a mask on. So that's a little, and it's like a game of shirts versus skins type thing, but mask versus no mask. But that's it. That's all you wouldn't know anything was going on in the world except that. It's pretty the same.
Yeah, no, here it's the exact opposite. Like here you go into a store and you're required to wear a mask, and if there's someone that like pulls off their mask once they're inside, they immediately start getting comments and mean mugging from like every other shopper.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I just leave.
Yeah. I don't blame you because I've seen how dicky these people can get when they like accost somebody for not wearing a mask in a store. It's pretty rough, actually. I think I would cry. They would just make me cry, yelling at me like that. I wouldn't know what to do. They would just see me sitting there crying.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, it's that stuff, and it's all the political stuff. Like it's just not the town that it was. It's not what made us move here. So
Right.
yeah, like we want to move closer towards the south. We don't know if we want to move back east or maybe like northish towards like the end of Washington, like heading towards Alaska. We don't know where
Right.
we're going yet.
But y'all are definitely on the on the hunt for a move.
Yeah, so we're probably going to leave within like the next 2 years or so.
Nice.
Like definitely, yeah. You know, we got some like family stuff to figure out, and as soon as all that's in place, yeah, we're out. I don't know what Narwhal's going to do, but we'll take him too if we can.
Oh, that's right. He lives up in that area too, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah, he does.
have you met him? Like in real life? Have y'all met?
Yeah, no, we hang out once in a while.
That's so cool. I wish people lived near me. Everybody I hang out with, they live like, not in the South. So that's
Yeah,
cool,
no, same
though.
boat.
That's
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Yeah, Narwhal's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. Narwhal is life. It's
Yeah,
true.
and like he is exactly how he is on the internet in real life.
Oh, you can tell. You can tell. There's no Narwhal is Narwhal. I'm sure it's just the same no matter where he's at. So, yeah, he's great, and that's so cool that you guys get to like hang out and go do stuff. That's cool.
Right. Yeah, and he's kind of done with the whole quarantine thing too. So like, yeah, he just straight up was like, "Hey, I'm kind of done with
I
this.
know.
Whenever you want to meet up, just tell me." I'm like, "All right, work it out."
Yeah, I was done with the quarantine stuff about the time it happened. I was sneaking out in the middle of the night, going to gas stations
Right.
and buying popsicles. So I'm a rebel.
Yeah, I when they first started requesting masks, I did the
Mhm.
mask thing for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I was just like, I don't care anymore.
I can't breathe
And
in
the only
them.
reason yeah, I just like my whole face starts sweating. It's just
Yeah,
gross.
I can't. I feel like I can't catch my breath when I'm wearing one for
Right.
whatever reason. It's like I don't know, because I know you can breathe in them, but I feel like claustrophobic or something with it on. I feel like I just want to rip it off. So I played the mask game about twice. I think twice I played the mask game, and then I was like, I can't wear this shit. It's not gonna work for me. So yeah, but again, I'm a rebel. I do what I like. I'm like Cartman. True story.
It's my hot body. I do what I want.
Yes, exactly. Precisely. Oh, hey, Jade and Peter and Garth. How are you guys? Oh, look, you're in the chat talking.
Yeah.
I'm worried I wasn't talking in the chat.
Yeah, try to do due diligence as a host. So let's see. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is now that you're pretty much done with fulfillment on Wart, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm
Okay.
still. Well, I mean,
So-
I'm still fulfilling. Every night I package up some more. So I'm about a little over halfway done. So I still have a couple more weeks of getting stuff ready and out. But everything is like I've got everything. I'm just slowly. I had a situation. I left. I tried to do it while the kids were up, and I got up like 5 minutes just to run to the bathroom. I came back probably 60 seconds later, and my 5-year-old had signed 4 books. So that was 4 perfectly good books. I had to like move over to the side and like, oh, I can't use those now. So now I am doing my fulfillment after the kids go to bed, but it's like a little window between when the kids go to bed and when I have to go to bed. So
Sure.
I get about 20 done, get them ready to go to the post office the next morning, and then I go to bed, and then I get up and do the same thing the next day, get about 20 done, take them to the post office. So that has slowed me down not working when the kids are up, because I get about 2 hours in between the kids going to bed and when I have to go to bed. So it's coming though. Slowly. This has probably been the slowest thing I've ever done, but I can't afford to have him color any more of my books. So,
No, of course.
yeah.
No, we were in the same boat with Samurai. I mean, because like during the day it's just taking care of Clark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like same thing. That gives us a window of like, all right, we get him in bed like 10 o'clock at night, and it's like, all right, well, I guess we're just working all night, and that's our new schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we would have 20, 30 copies go out of Samurai every like other day or so, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wish I could have gotten them out faster, but no, I hear you. It's just that thing of like, well, this is the amount that I can get done.
Right. Well, I plan on my next book. I'm hoping that fulfillment falls while the kids are in school, because then that gives me 8 hours during the day that I can actually sit down and do it. But between the virus and between everything else, it's these kids, they never leave anymore. they're here. You want to know where they're at any given time of the day, they're here. So
right.
Yeah, I'm having to work around that as well. I can't send them to my mom's. I can't. They're here. So
they're here.
Yeah, they're here. So yeah, it's slower than what I had anticipated, but it's coming along nicely, I think, and nobody's books are getting colored on by the 5-year-old. So it's going well.
So okay. So like where I was going with it was like I look at like the genres of like, my friends and acquaintances in CG, like the genres they start off with and they kind of like to work with, and it seems to be all over the place. And I've noticed that with you and like what we're doing with Deepwell, you're tackling fantasy, which like except for a few cases here and there doesn't seem to be like huge in CG. And you spend so much time promoting other people on your show. I just wanted to kind of like figure out like what is it that draws you to fantasy, and what was it that made you go like, this is right out the gate like what I'm going to start with?
Well, it's my favorite. When I think back to the stuff that I loved as a kid, you look at like King's Quest, it's fantasy. I mean, right? It's all, and then Labyrinth was one of my favorite movies. Everything fantasy gives you such a window of you're not held back by reality. You can literally do anything with the characters and excuse what's happening to the fact, well, it's a fantasy book, right? So that's always been, I love the monsters and the critters in fantasy. Like, so yeah, no, I've always just, it is without a doubt my favorite genre. I've loved anything that I've seen fantasy my entire life. And like with the Wart, a lot of that was, me telling stories to my little girl. And of course, the stories that I told were all pretty much fantasy, because you can make ogres and you can make, bugbears, and there's all kinds of crazy monsters. You can just make monsters up. Just, all right, well, this is a bugbear booger eater, and that's now a real critter because it's fantasy. You can do crap like that. So I like the freedom of fantasy, to where you can literally do anything. Your characters can fly. They can plant seeds and it grow into beanstalks and go up into the clouds and be, it's just, I don't know. It lets me be more free with my ideas. I'm not constricted to anything.
Sure. Other genres, like even with like science fiction, or I guess to an extent like superheroes, there's a certain level of I don't want to say reality, but rules that once you set up those rules, you have to follow those rules.
Well, exactly. If you make a character and you put your character in New York, you still have to kind of follow the reality that is you live in New York. This is your town. So it's going to still, there's humans around. There's no, typically, unless you're doing some Ghostbusters shit, there's no monsters in New York, right? So, yeah, that's always why I've liked fantasy more. It's funner to write because you're free.
Nice. Okay. So you brought up King's Quest. So
yes.
like the Sierra games and like all the other text-based adventure games from like the 80s and early 90s, like I grew up with that stuff, but I always grew up with it like at a distance because by that point I was locked into like consoles. So the latest King's Quest that they did, like what was it, like 5 years ago now, was that your jam? Or because I've heard division amongst King Quest fans, like if they liked it or didn't like it.
I honestly did not like it as much.
Okay.
My King's Quest play-in comes from an old DOS computer, so like the 80s, so it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was meh. It was kind of my opinion on it. Meh.
Right. Yeah. Like I know the people who were really into it, they didn't like that. It kind of felt a little too Telltale-ish.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Interesting. So, okay. Wart is next up on my list after I finish what I'm reading right now. So what do you have plans for like a book 2, or is it going to be like once every couple of years thing?
No, actually, Pete and I are working on Super Dead right now, and after Super Dead, Pete and I will be starting Wart the Wizard 2. So we're going from one straight into the next, kind of.
That's awesome.
So yeah, because I have so many. I like most people that talk in CG, they can actually tell you like, well, this is going to be 5 books. This is going to be. I don't have a number. I'm going to keep making them until people quit reading them. So yeah, I plan to go, except the next one will have Peter's art and not mine. So that should make quite a bit of difference in little Wart's life, being drawn by Peter instead of me. But yeah, so we're going straight into the next one after Super Dead.
That's awesome. So like, what we're doing is we're trying to set up I want to say like multiple franchises over maybe like the next 6-ish years, staggering them out to like 2 or 3 a year. Like is kind of, because from Wart to Super Dead, like that's a huge genre shift, kind of like some of the stuff that we've been doing. Are you gonna keep jumping around genres, or like is it gonna kind of be this thing where like even if it's not Wart, you're gonna be like circling back to fantasy every now and
again? There's some genres like I know I can write superhero, and I can write horror, and I can write fantasy. Like the chances of me ever doing like a Western or a sci-fi are probably slim to none, just because I am fully aware of what I'm capable of. I could probably write a sci-fi, but I don't trust my writing enough with sci-fi and Western, because I'm just not, I haven't read enough of it. I haven't watched, and I didn't love it as a kid. You know what I mean? So I'm probably going to stick to superheroes and, like horror and fantasy, is because that's what I'm good at writing. So I'm probably going to stick to what I'm good at. I don't know that I'll ever brave up and be like, yeah, I'm going to write a Western, because I don't love them. I don't know that I could write them well, kind of like that thing. I need to love what I'm writing about, or it shows. So, yeah, I'm probably going to stick to what I'm good at.
Nice. So this is something that I usually run past most of the people who are on here. Why like not why. What was the moment for you where you were like, yeah, I'm jumping all the way into Comic Skate?
I think it was when I found out about everything, just I fell in a rabbit hole basically, and I found out about everything. I think the moment I decided I wanted to be a part of CG was I watched a stream. I had just found out who
Mhm.
Ethan was, and I watched the stream. And that stream had your boy Zach on there, who was, the guy that I had been reading about all of this time, with the mark and all that stuff that was going on. So
Right,
I saw a stream and they were kind of talking, well, I mean, you watch Ethan streams. They were kind of talking, and I was like, I could do this. This is actually, I don't jump in a lot of movements. Technically, I pretty much stick to myself. But this was one that when I heard them talking and I heard how passionate they were, I was like,
hmm
I could help maybe. So yeah, I just kind of jumped in, head first, and I was like, yeah, I can actually, if nothing else, I can get my work out there, and I can help promote other creators, and show that this is not just a basically hobby that men love, that women like comics too. We like nerdy shit too. So yeah, I think it was watching Ethan and your boy Zach talk, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Screw it, I'm gonna do it. So I talked to my husband. I was like, are you cool with this? And he was like, really, you want to do this? And I was like, no, I really really want to do this, but I wanted his approval. And he was like, yeah, go for it. I was like, yeah, okay. So yeah, then I think I made my Twitter account 2 days later. I made my first Twitter
Is
account.
he is he a comics guy too, or is it just you?
He is. When I first met him, I had quit reading comics for a while. I grew up. I got most of my comics from either my brother, or I lived in a subdivision where it was, I think I was the only girl. All the kids in my
hmm
subdivision were boys. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. So I read a lot of comics when I was a kid, and then I hit the age where I got friends with cars. And
hmm
me and my friends, we were at the mall, we were shopping, we were at the skating rink, we were going and doing other stuff. So I hadn't read comics in a while. And then I met my husband, and yeah, from there, he just taught me about so much nerdy stuff I didn't know. I started playing D&D. I started. So, yeah, now we don't like the same kind of comics. He likes different ones than I do.
Sure.
But he's a comic guy too, and a Star Wars guy and a Star Trek guy, and yeah, so and a lot of that rubbed off on me. So
Yeah,
so
no, same here. Like Selena was Marvel slash the X-Men, and I was DC, and all the like you just said with your husband, like all the other nerdy stuff. Like I was into Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who,
mhm.
and just little by little dragged her into all that stuff.
Yes, it rubs off on you, and I already had a love for it from being a kid. I've been hanging out with girls, with prissy girls at that. So, we were
Sure.
right. We were going to like the river and laying out, and during that time, as soon as we got our cars, well, as soon as I got old enough to date, it became all about boys, right? Because then it's like, oh, I'm
Right,
going on a
right,
date, But then, yeah. So he is too. I don't know. I think I may have nerded out. Well, he told me I leveled up with the comic skate thing, because he would never in a million years think to be, online. Like, hey, look at me. Let's
sure,
talk about comics. So he
sure.
says I've leveled up with my nerdiness. Like I may have outdone him. But yeah, so he too is a nerd. He just doesn't like the same nerdy stuff I do.
Right. Well, I mean, depending on like your placement in comics, like whether you're like you were just a fan or you were working in some capacity in the industry, like like we were, like it's this thing of like when you commit to saying like, yeah, I'm Comic Skate, I'm a part of this thing, it can kind of have, a series of, repercussions that come with it. So
Mhm.
I definitely think anyone who jumps into the deep end has leveled up, so to speak.
Right? Exactly.
So at this point, like, are there any mainstream books that you're still reading at all?
I read a little bit of Gwenpool. I read Major X. Rob Liefeld's new ones. There's some.
Right.
There's a few that I will still go and buy. I haven't done the turned over to CG only type stuff yet.
Right.
I read what I like. There's just not a lot of what I like being written anymore. So, but yeah, I'll go occasionally when I'm at my bookstore. I'm mostly under the table digging in the independent or the old stuff. But occasionally I'll see something up on the wall and I'm like, I'll try it. So yeah, it just depends. There's about maybe 4 titles that I'll still buy.
Yeah, I find that that's kind of the theme with most of us, because I know that's how it is for me. Like, there's Tomasi's detective run, there's Morrison's Green Lantern run, and there's maybe like 1 or 2 other that, like, I can't even remember right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think, like Ethan keeps saying, like, I think we made the right choice jumping into Life Draft.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, like, I found Comic Skate simply because I bought a Rainbow Bright comic. That it led to all of this, and me reading that Rainbow Bright comic and reading them with my little girl. And then I thought, I mean, they weren't great. I'll be honest, they weren't great. But I thought at the time I did not know about Comic Skate, and I thought, well, this is a way to get my little girl to love comic, because I made her watch my old, like, I downloaded all the Rainbow Bright, so I had them on a DVD. So I made her watch all of them. So she ended up loving Rainbow Bright. And I thought, oh, they got a comic. Perfect. A way to get her started in comics. Because, that is how I started in comics, was a Rainbow Bright comic that my brother bought me. And I thought, this is so perfect. I can, bring her over to the dark side of comics. And yeah, they canceled it after 6. I think it was 6 of them. They canceled it. And that's how I found out, because I started like, what the hell happened? I mean, I knew it sucked. Right. I mean, I knew it wasn't good, but still, from what I'd read of other comics, it was as good as anything else I've seen lately, honestly. So I thought, what the hell? So yeah, that's actually how I found Comic Skate. And I was hoping to make her love comics that way, and they canceled it. But yeah, that's how I found Comic Skate. So
I feel like you're on the path to this with Wart, but I know one of the things, like, we all kind of talk about behind the scenes, and like Selena and I talk about, is little by little trying to branch CG off into like, not necessarily kids books, but like kid friendly books. I know that's like a big thing we want to focus on in the next couple of years.
Yes. So, well, I'm the same way. And I think those of us that have kids are going to feel like this, like even with Super Dead. Now, this is going to be very gory. It's very much an adult book, very much. This is in no way for kids. But because I myself have children and I want my kids to love comics, we are going to be adding on a ash can called Super Ed. That is a kid's book to go along with this. Super Ed's going to be like cartoony, a cute little zombie that wants to be a superhero. And he so he's trying to save people. Like, a lady's on top of a building and he's like, oh, I'll save you. And he goes running to save her, but she sees a zombie coming. So she jumps off the damn building, and he never gets to save anybody because he's a brain dead zombie. So I plan to add something for kids in everything that I do, just because I have kids and I want my kids to love comics, and I don't want to only write kids books. So that was my way of including my kids and into a comic that really has no place for kids. So you just, gonna add on an ash can. So if you buy Super Dead, for example, you could give the baby Super Ed, and now you've got a book that you can read, and they have a book they can read that is age appropriate for them.
Mandy, that's cool. I like that idea.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's like the professionals, all talk about how this isn't us trying to take over the mainstream industry, that what we're building is essentially its own separate industry. And like I'm starting to get the sentiment from a whole bunch of people that, like, okay, well, if we are going to be our own industry that's kind of replacing the one that's like in its final stages right now, we're going to need multiple genres and multiple types of readers coming into CG.
Absolutely. We need that. I mean, right now, though, you have to admit, we pretty much have, I cannot think of a single genre that if you go on Indiegogo, you won't be able to find one or two books like that. There's Western, there's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's superhero, and superhero even broken down to like the golden age, you know what I mean? So, they've even broken it down. So I think we're doing quite well as even just in the early stages of, because people are writing about what they love, right? So you have a bunch of different people that love a bunch of different stuff that can make, a bunch of different, genres. So no, I think it's amazing how many creators and just talented people there are in Comic Skate. It blows my mind how many people there are and how talented all of these people are.
Well, yeah, I think you just nailed it. It's the whole thing of like the reason that so many of these books look as good as they do, read as good as they do, and are getting funded at the rate that they are is because it's all one big pool of people who care about the genres that they're working in. I can't remember who I was saying this to, but yesterday, like I was teasing like a very I probably shouldn't have put it out there, but it's out there now. Like I was teasing a project that we're going to do next year. That's going to kind of be, it's going to, so I brought up Doctor Who earlier, right?
Right.
I'm like many people, I'm in the camp of I can't stand what Doctor Who has become.
Yeah, I've heard that it's gotten. I watched some. I never really got into it, but from what I understand, it's a train wreck now.
Yeah, so like I teased this project where like we're basically doing Chibi / Comic Skate, like the equivalent of our Doctor Who. And like someone was asking me about it, and I was like, well, if you're not getting what you want, like you make it yourself, right?
Right.
And I just kind of feel like that's where all of us are at with CG. It's just like the types of stories that we're into and the way that they're told are just being kind of phased out and denied on like every level, from like comics to TV shows to movies. So we've just kind of hit this point of like, well, F it, like we'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah. Well, think about what all they messed up. Everything that they do now, they mess it up. And it's like, come on. You take, for example, and this is a good one, I think, Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Amazing movie, right? What the hell did they do with that new one? What was that? And I'm a girl. That I was the audience they were trying to reach out to, and I won't watch that piece of shit to save my life. That is horrible. It's god awful.
Selena's in the same boat. Like she hates being talked down to. She hates pandering. Like she loves the things that she loves because they are what they are, not because she looks at them and goes, "Oh, that's me," you know?
Right. I seriously doubt when Selena was watching Ghostbusters as a kid, she said, "Why aren't there any characters that represent me?" Nobody fucking thinks like that. Who sits down for entertainment and spends their time that they should be, enjoying what they're doing to think of all the things that's wrong with it? What's wrong with this? How did this make me feel? I feel like I'm not being represented in movies. Just watch the movie and shut the fuck up, right? Watch it and then shut up. If you don't like it, don't watch it again. You're good. But, that's that's just me, maybe.
It's this whole identity bullshit thing of like I never understood that sentiment because, like I always say, like outside of comics, like two of my favorite characters in pop culture are Ripley from Alien and Adama from the Battlestar reboot. Like, and those are two human beings who I couldn't be further removed from. So it's like this idea that you can only empathize or relate with a character if they look, sound, and act exactly like you do. I just it's the height of narcissism.
It really is. I think they're insane. I think the people that are doing movies and doing comics and writing books and anything that's, like pop culture wise, there's Looney Tunes running all of it, apparently. Obviously.
Right.
Every
whole scythe thing instead of the shotgun.
Right. Every single time they try, and they have not one original idea. Everything they do is just taking stuff from when we were kids and putting some political agenda onto it. And there you go. Now y'all watch that shit. Oh, you like Ghostbusters? Right. Watch what we do with it. I'm waiting on Titanic. I'm waiting on a SJW Titanic where, Rose bitches about how, don't even get me started on, I'm not going to go on my spiel because it lasts 10 minutes. But no, I'm waiting on them to start taking other movies and fucking, like, I heard they're doing a Princess Bride. That one just makes me like, that's the one that makes me like, oh God, no. Because that is, without a doubt, my favorite movie of all time. They're going to redo it, and they're going to fuck it up. They are. They're not going to do it right. Wesley is not going to be the main character. They're going to have Buttercup saving him, and she's going to be Pirate Buttercup, the Dread Pirate Buttercup. I don't know. They're going to fuck it up, though. They are.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Peter's muskratting me in the chat. He's telling me not to do it. Don't go off on my... These guys have heard me at Backrooms just ranting, so they know.
Sure. No, I mean, it is what it is, though. I mean, like and now they're trying. I always thought that, in the back of my head, I'm like, the next phase is they're going to try to start getting rid of the old stuff so that they can say that it never existed in the first place. And I think now we're starting to see that stuff roll out, like with the whole Gone with the Wind thing, where it's like I don't know how you can watch Gone with the Wind and walk away from it going like, yeah, slavery was awesome, right?
Right. Who does that? No, that is what they're doing, and it's real. And I've noticed it with my own little one, and honestly, it was like a week ago that I was talking to her about it. They have almost all but completely taken history out of the curriculum in schools. Wow. Now my daughter is 10. Don't get me wrong. She's still little. But my husband and I were talking. I don't know what we were talking about, but somehow we were talking about the Holocaust. And and we weren't cheering it on, obviously, but we were, discussing some of the things that had happened during the Holocaust. And my little girl kind of walked through the kitchen and overheard us. And she asked me, "Is that real?" And I looked at her and I was like, "Is what real?" She said, "Well, what y'all were talking about." And I said, "The Holocaust?" And she said, "Yeah, did that really happen?" And I'm thinking back, she's about to be in 5th grade. And they haven't taught her a thing about. Now, don't get me wrong. I know they don't go into full disclosure at young age. They sugarcoat everything. But I know for a fact by 10 years old, I knew what that was. I was aware. But they're not teaching history at all anymore. And if they don't teach history, how do you learn from the past? How do you learn the mistakes that have already been made so we don't repeat them? How do you, once you stop? So it's so easy to manipulate these young people when you're not teaching them even a sugar-coated version of what happened. You're teaching them nothing. You are teaching them absolutely nothing about the past and what happened and how we got here. It's really quite sick. So I have told my husband, I said, well, I guess I'm going to go up into the attic and I'm going to pull out a lot of my history books. I was a history major in college, so I have stacks of history books, and I'm going to start teaching my kids history since the schools won't do it, because I don't want them to be mindless sheep. I want them to know what happened so they don't make the same mistakes, or at least if the shit's happening, they can see it happening and like, oh no, I've seen these graphics before. This is the last time this happened. I want them to be aware. And they're not teaching our children history anymore, which is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, see, that's shit that scares me. Like, as we get close to like having to think about like preschool and kindergarten for Clark, because realistically, it's like 2-3 years at the most before, he's going to be starting up with that. And I'm like, part of the reason that we want to get the hell out of here is like, I straight up can't imagine what public school in Portland, Oregon is like right now. And
oh gosh, I can't.
I don't know that I want him growing up in that.
No, probably not. I mean, I don't know because I'm not there, so I don't know about. But they're taking away at least, and this is the South. This is and even here they're not teaching our kids history. They focus on the math, English, and even science. Honestly, has taken a little bit of hit. They've taken away anything that require critical thinking or out of the box thinking, and they've removed it. A lot of the arts have been removed. They don't want you. It's quite creepy how much they are. If you step back and you look at what they're doing to the kids, it is it's quite creepy. They put subliminal messages in all of their cartoons now. I mean, just watch sit down one day while Clark is watching TV and just kind of watch, and you'll start seeing little subliminal stuff going on. You're like, these motherfuckers, what are they? For example, my little one was watching Nick Jr. not too long ago. And then I hear him a heartbeat, like beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I walk into the living room where he's sitting there watching TV. And it's on Nick Jr. It is a George Floyd commercial where he can't breathe. And that's on Nick Jr. Nick freaking Jr. That's a toddler channel. And they are doing George Floyd propaganda on a toddler channel, and it's just disgusting. I mean, I don't know. So
oh, go
ahead.
I hear you. Like we're so Clark right now is we're just going into full parenting talk right now.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
Clark is at the melon stage. That's about the level of entertainment he can handle.
Mhm.
And even before like they'll do ads on YouTube. Even before the show will start, there'll be an ad, and like they keep one of like the whole wear your mask so that you don't accidentally kill somebody today. And I'm like, what the fuck is this doing playing before Cocomelon?
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, honestly, though, I know we're kind of going full parent mode right now, but isn't that what this is about? I want to make a future for my children where they are free to think the way they want to, free to live the way they want to, free to,
Right.
and not be told that because you don't like something, you're a Nazi.
Right.
So if I don't, I mean, I don't want, and I much like you, I have a little boy, and my little boy is white. He's going to grow up to be a white male, and
Mhm.
I am so scared for him and what the future holds nowadays
Right.
for
Right.
because he's going to be held like he's the cause of something that happened 200 years ago. They focus on him now and say you're the reason. But no, he's not. He did. So I can't. I so yeah, this comic skate is my small way of kind of saying fuck the SJWs, I'm gonna do what I want. And that's kind of what I'm what I'm doing. But yeah, it's scary that they are doing this to our children. It is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, look, I don't want to homeschool Clark because I'll be damned. But at the same time,
Yeah.
what I worry about is like this constant back and forth of like he goes to school and they tell him one thing and then he comes back and he's like, is that what it is? And I'm like, no, that's not what it is at all. Here's what really happened. And then he goes back and repeats that, and then that gets him in trouble.
Well, here's what you have to worry about to me is him not coming home and telling you and asking you, because the schools are teaching them to just accept. Just accept what we tell you. Don't think about it. Don't do any critical thinking. Don't come up with an idea on your own. This is what we've said, and these are facts. And that is how they're teaching your children. I worry more about what kind of bullshit they put in my kids' head that my kids haven't come home and told me. So I wasn't able to correct. Um, if I could homeschool mine, I would. But my kids wouldn't listen to me, and they would grow up to be as dumb as a brick if I tried to do it because they don't listen. So getting them to clean their room alone is about an hour and a half project of just yelling at them because they'll go in there, but they're not cleaning. I don't know what they're playing with their toys or so just cleaning their room becomes a project. I can't even imagine trying to get them to actually do a full day of schoolwork. So
right.
Yeah, they would end up being being probably an SJW if I tried to homeschool them just because they'd be so dumb. So yeah, I have to send mine to school, but after the past couple of weeks, I pulled out all of my history books, and we will have I used to say that we're in mommy school. You're in mommy school now. We're gonna bring back mommy school to nothing else, just teach them the basics of history and teach them to not take everything on face value. Look into stuff. Before you decide something big, look into it. Get all sides because you don't want to go into something half-assed knowledge. So,
of course.
Yeah.
All right. I think people have had enough of our like parent segments.
Probably.
How about how about? I mean, look, I could talk parenting stuff like forever.
All day,
like,
all
we're
day.
Just coming around to all this.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, let's close out the show. How about we talk a little about Super Dead?
Yay! Super Dead. Well, I have got my mailing list pulled up if you would like to share my screen.
Yeah, go for it.
So, yes, this is mine and Peter's next book. Pretty much, honestly, in the beginning, I pitched this as a zombie book because before I wrote it, that is where my mind was at, is I was going to do kind of a zombie-like book. As I sat down to write this, the characters began development, and it is no longer really a zombie book. There is a zombie aspect to it, but this is not really a zombie book. The zombies are pretty much exterminated at this point when the book starts. So, basically, this is about a superhero that contracted the disease that was kind of causing the zombie stuff. He got that from battling in the end, he was battling another hero who had kind of like a soul stone, and he absorbed the powers. So when he killed the guy, he absorbed the guy's powers. So now you have a superhero that, has very, very dark zombie-like powers. He tries to, once he gets infected, he tries to kill himself, basically, because, he loves humans. He loves his world. He loves, he's a good guy, and he knows what's going to happen. He's going to lose his mind, right? And he doesn't want to become the bad guy. So instead, he locks himself into the sewers, patiently waiting for a time when a cure has been given so he can come out. But he comes out anyways, a little bit early. And he finds out that instead of there being statues in honor of him and monuments talking about how great he was for saving the world, because he technically did save the world, he's been replaced by a new superhero, which would be Omega Atlas that you see right here. And this guy, he's going to remind you a lot. He's an asshole, basically. All the appearance of being, think of Homelander. That is kind of what this guy is going to remind you of, is a lot of Homelander. He is a superhero, but wow, what a piece of shit this guy is, right? So that is him.
Yeah.
So our hero comes out, like I said, waiting to see all of this, all how the humans just, oh, he's so great. And he's been replaced. Well, that makes him, he's already in the process of losing his mind. And that kind of ticks him over. He's freaking lost it. Nobody gives a shit about it. Nobody even remembers him. Are they even trying to save him anymore? Or is he just down in this damn sewer eating rats, So basically, our superhero is going to pretty much absolutely lose his mind and go on a revenge rampage against everybody. While at the same time, this guy is around doing shit as well. This one is definitely very gory. A lot of cussing. It is not for kids at all. It's really, there's some fucked up stuff in here. So, but that's kind of the premise of it. I haven't worked on my elevator pitch yet. That's kind of the premise for it. Is our superhero that is actually a good guy is not a good guy because he's lost his mind. And the guy that's supposed to be a good guy is, well, he's not. He's just in no way is he. But so that is going to be the first book. We are keeping it. They are self-contained stories, but they will continue. But each story will be self-contained. But it will continue continuity throughout the series. That is a little peek at Super Dead, which, like I said, this one is so different than Wart. It is so not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah, I wasn't even interested. Any rough idea of when you're looking to launch?
Yeah, actually, I'm finishing up Wart. We are looking at 2 to 3 weeks out, and we are ready. We're already ready with everything, minus the fact I really want the last Wart the Wizards to be at least in the mail, at least shipped out before I launch. So we are thinking about another 2, maybe 3 weeks. That gives me a little bit more time to finish completely with my fulfillment. And then we will kick off this one as soon, like literally the day that everything goes out is the day I want to launch. So yeah, very, very soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait, and I'm sure it's going to be a big success for you guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this one, this one is the one that I'm going to say is my masterpiece. Wart's good. Don't get me wrong. I loved writing Wart. It was so fun. But Wart was written around for children. I can write adult stuff really well. And it's not goofy like hardcore pornosaur. In case anybody wants to know, this is not hardcore pornosaur. This is real. So hardcore pornosaur was good too.
Okay. No Chuck vibes. All right. Well, like to close out, do you mind if I shill for Deepwell?
No, go ahead. Trying to get that. Oh, you closed it. Good. I was trying to get my mouse over there, but it wouldn't do it.
Okay, so let's share screen. All right.
Oh, hey,
yeah, now my computer's getting a little laggy, so don't mind me if there's like a weird.
Oh no, you're fine.
Hey, Dark Gift. Application. Okay, so I think this is the time on CG one-on-one that I've gotten to shill Deepwell since we hit funding. So, everybody,
congratulations!
Yay!
Yay!
We are at 6,500. Well, thank you. Currently, we are $1 away from 6,500, and at 8,000 by 6 a.m. Comics. So anyone out there that hasn't backed us yet, here, let me give you a quick rundown of what you could be in for if you decide to back Deepwell. So I usually elevator pitch it as what happened the day the Lone Ranger rode into Deadwood. The story focuses on a dark vigilante fighting to free the innocent townsfolk of Deepwell from the evil Block family, while at the same time getting revenge for a huge injustice from over 20 years ago that's tied to the very origins of the town. It's a book for readers who want a little grit mixed in with their optimism, and it's for adults only as it's filled with tons of mature content. Again, there's some fucked up shit in here. That being said, there is a redeeming story at its core. We're just a little harsh about getting there. The book is drawn by Rafael Dantas with full colors by me. The base perk comes in at $15, and like I always say with each of our campaigns, we'd love to have everyone listening come along for the ride. If you're into Tombstone, Deadwood, The Wild Bunch, Unforgiven, or even Tarantino's Westerns, this is the book you've been waiting for, everybody.
It looks fantastic. Why is it blurry? Why can't I not see your screen right? Is it blurry to you, or is it just blurry to me?
I don't know. Am I? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's super blurry.
It's so blurry, right?
What the? I think that there is something fishy going on with my internet connection.
That could be. That could be. So your books, though, yours are really different.
Yeah, because like
you have like what? The Gods Fear Me, Deepwell and Dinosaurs and Samurai, they're so different from each other. I think this one's the one I'm most excited about, though. Deepwell is going to be awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I similar to what you were saying with Super Dead. Like I love Samurai and Dinosaurs, and I love what we're building with the Gods Fear Me, especially now that like we're heading into like the last third of the book and looking towards fulfillment in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
But with Deepwell, like story wise and some of the scenes and moments, like I've been carrying around some of this stuff in my head for like almost 10 years now. So to see it kind of like realized and actually gonna happen is crazy.
Right? No, it's so cool. It's so cool. And you guys in the chat, we've got to retweet the shit out of Deepwell. We got to get it out there. We got to get those stretch goals unlocked because I need this stuff. Ain't that right, Mike? I need it. I need all of this stuff to live at this point. So let's retweet the shit out of some Deepwell, get it in front of as many people as possible, and let's unlock these stretch goals so I can get more stuff. That's what we need.
Well, thank you, Mandy. Yeah, like sometime this week, I'm gonna post up another Deepwell update where I list out what our planned stretch goals are. Everybody knows about the sticker by 6 a.m., but we've got a 10,000 stretch goal, a 12 and a 14 in mind. So yeah, like look for that this week from us.
See, Anthony wants the stuff too. We want the stuff, you guys. So yes, let's retweet it. Let's get it in front of as many people as humanly possible. Let's start tagging all of the Western people because they like Westerns. So they're going to love Deepwell. So let's get everybody involved and let's get this book like dummy dum dum potato level good. Yeah, $1 million. So yes,
Hey,
I'm excited about Deepwell. I really, really am. I had told, I think it was Brian Crisco. I'm not technically a Western girl, but I read Six Gun Gorilla. And now I am a Western girl. I like Westerns now, or I at least I'll give them chances. So I'm so excited about Deepwell.
Sure.
Yay!
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I might have said this when you promoted Deepwell on your channel, but yeah, like Westerns were a thing that I kind of had to grow into. I wasn't into them either. Like I was more of a like superhero and horror kid growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know what it was. I saw Unforgiven, I think when I was around like 18 or 19, and I was like, all right, I get it. Like I totally get what Westerns are now, and like from that day forward, like I've been into them.
Yeah. Is that what? Like I said, I read Six Gun Gorilla, and I was like, oh, I like it. It's good. So yeah, now I'm down for Western stuff. So yeah, I'm super stoked to get Deepwell and read it, and yeah, so much fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, Mandy, thanks for hanging out with me today. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. No, this was a blast. I cannot believe I haven't been on this channel before. What the hell?
I know. We'll have to do it again in a few months.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, everybody. So go out there and sign up for Super Dead. Go out there and back Deepwell. And until next Sunday, I'm Mike Murphy. This has been CG One-on-One today with Mandy Summers. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks for catching the replay. And I will see all of you next Sunday.
Bye.
Awkward pause while we wait for the
pause, yeah.